In this video, we'll solve questions 8 to 14 of Reading General from Book 19, Test 1. Question type is matching information. In matching information questions, we are given statements and our job is to find where in the passage each statement is mentioned. The heading of the passage mentions knitwear, which refers to clothes made from knitted fabric like sweaters and scarves. In the passage, words like sweaters and knitted sweater are used, but they all mean the same thing. In matching information questions, first we read all the questions and identify the keywords. Then scan the passage and focus on the sections that match these keywords. On your screen, parts of each question are highlighted in green and blue. As you scan the passage, keep these highlighted words in mind. Now we start scanning the passage. Scanning means quickly looking through the passage to find specific information. You don't need to read everything in detail. Instead, focus on the keywords or phrases from the question. It's a quick way to find the answers without reading the entire passage carefully. We start with the eighth question. When scanning for the keywords color and image, we narrowed down the relevant sections to B, C, and E. The word color is mentioned only in one section, and the word image is not mentioned at all. But we have words like purple, green, and shade for color, and the word picture for image. So now we focus on these three sections and read the relevant sentences carefully. The question says that the website had some picture of the sweater, and when the customer got the sweater, the color of the sweater was different from the picture. Section C mentions the sweater looks great in the pictures. I ordered the olive green. This just tells us that the picture of the sweater on the website is good and the customer ordered the green color sweater. Later, however, it is mentioned, although I wasn't sure it was going to look right on me, I was pleasantly surprised. This part is about how the sweater suits the person, not whether the picture matches the real color. Section E clearly mentions both colors match the online pictures. This is opposite of what is mentioned in the question. So this is not the answer either. Section B mentions the purple one is pretty, though I expected a lighter shade from the picture. So, because of the picture or the image on the website, the customer was expecting a lighter shade of purple. This means the color did not match the website image. The answer to the eighth question is B. Let's start with the ninth question now. The question says the customer took some time to decide on the purchase. So, in the review, the customer mentions that they did not immediately decide that they will buy the sweater. They thought about it for some time before deciding to buy. When scanning the passage, phrases like spent a while thinking about it, decision, wasn't sure, couldn't decide, all talk about some kind of issues with deciding something. So we'll focus on these parts. In section C, it says, I wasn't sure it was going to look right on me. This means the person was unsure about whether the sweater would suit them or not. That does not mean that they did not immediately decide to buy it. Section E says, I couldn't decide which color to get. Again, it is not about the time taken to decide. The indecision is about color. Section A in the very first sentence of the passage says, I spent a while thinking about buying this sweater. A while here means some time. So this person spent some time thinking about or deciding whether to buy the sweater or not. The reason was the price of the sweater. Spent a while means used some time doing something. The answer to the ninth question is A. Let's start with the 10th question now. The customer initially bought the wrong size. Initially means in the beginning or first. This implies that the customer bought the wrong size when they first bought the sweater, and then they must have changed it for the right size. So we scan the passage for any mention of size. Interestingly, size is mentioned in every single section. In some sections, for example, in A, it just mentions medium and large. The word size is not mentioned, but there is a reference to the size. Let's focus on the parts of the sections which mention size. Tend to means usually, went for or go for means choose. Section A says that I usually buy medium size, but this time I bought large, and it was a wise decision, it was a good decision. There is nothing about buying the wrong size first and then changing it. Section B says I wear a US size 12 or UK 16, and the medium is big enough to fit over a shirt. US 12, UK 16, medium, these are all different names for the size. Again, nothing about first buying something and then choosing something else. These are not different sizes being mentioned. Section D says it's true to size. This phrase means that it matches the standard size it is supposed to be. For example, if you usually wear shoes of size 8, but if you order size 8 and the shoes are a little bigger, then you will say that the shoes are not true to size. But if you order size 8 and they perfectly fit you, that means they are the correct standard size. That means they are true to size. In this case, the reviewer is just saying that the size is correct. The word loose is also later mentioned, but that only means that the knitting of the sweater is loose. That has got nothing to do with the size of the sweater. Section E says I bought size small and the length is perfect. The sleeves are long. None of this says anything about initially buying the wrong size. The answer is in section C, which says that I opted for or I chose, or it could even be I went for the medium, but it was too tight, so I exchanged it. So initially, the person bought medium size, which was the wrong size, and then they exchanged it. Interestingly, when scanning the passage, we had been scanning for the word exchanged. We could have immediately found the answer. The question does not mention the word exchanged or any of its synonyms, but initially buying the wrong size conveys that after that the right size was bought, which means the product was exchanged. So the answer to the 10th question is C. The 11th question says the customer changed her mind about returning a sweater. Changed mind means to decide something different. So, first, the customer must have been thinking that she wants to return a sweater, and then she decided not to return the sweater. Or it could be the opposite. First, they were thinking not to return it, and later they decided to return it. On scanning the passage, there is a mention of thinking about, wasn't sure, couldn't decide, for changing her mind, and exchanged and sending back for returning. Exchanged is different from returning. Exchanged means you give something and get something back in return. Return just means you return something and maybe get your money back, not a replacement product. But still, I would want to read this to make sure that this does not mention anything about returning. Section A says, I spent a while thinking about buying the sweater because of the price. The thinking about part is deciding whether to buy or not, nothing about returning the product. Section C says, I wasn't sure it was going to look right on me. This shows hesitation before buying the sweater, but it doesn't mean returning it or a change of mind. Here it says, it was too tight, so I exchanged it. Exchange means got another product, which is different from returning, and no change of mind is mentioned where exchanging of the sweater is mentioned. Section E says, I couldn't decide which color to get. So this person was unsure about which color to buy, so they bought two colors, blue and gray, with every intention of sending one of them back. That didn't happen, of course. Intention means plan to do something. So this person had planned that they would return either the blue sweater or the gray sweater. That didn't happen, of course, means they kept both the sweaters. So initially, the person had planned or thought that they would return the sweater or send back the sweater. However, they changed their mind and did not return the sweater. The answer to the 11th question is E. The 12th question says, the customer bought a bigger size than she usually does. So, for example, the customer usually buys the small size, but this time for this sweater, they bought medium or large. So, just as we did in the 10th question, we scan the passage for the mention of size, and size is mentioned in some way or the other in all the sections. So, as we can see, whether it is words like medium and large or the actual mention of the word size, there is some mention of size in each of the sections. Section B says, I wear a size US 12, UK 16, and the medium, which is big enough to fit over a shirt with room to spare. That means there is some extra space. The sweater is not too tight. US 12, UK 16, medium, these are just different ways of measuring the size of something. These are not different sizes. US 12 and UK 16 are not different sizes. And in any case, the person is just saying that I wear these sizes, which means I usually wear this size. Long sleeves, etc., are mentioned, but this is just description of the fit. It is not about buying a bigger size. Section C says, I opted for the medium and it was too tight. There is no mention of what size this customer usually wears. Does she usually wear a medium? We don't know. So C is not the answer. Section D says it is true to size, which just means that it matches the standard size. This does not mention anything about what size the customer usually wears. Section E says, I bought a size small and the length was perfect. Does this mean that the customer usually buys the size small? We do not know. So, even E is not the answer. Section A says, I tend to take medium but went for large. So, tend to means usually, went for means choose. So, usually this person buys the size medium, In this case, this person bought the size large. The answer to the 12th question is A. Question 13 says the sweater can be worn for smart or casual occasions. When scanning the passage, I was looking for words like formal and informal, but they were not there. However, there are words like jeans, which means casual wear, and office wear and shirt, which means for smart occasions or formal occasions. Let's focus on these sections. Section A mentions t shirt and jeans. These are casual wear. Section B mentions office wear, which mentions for smart occasions or formal occasions. Section E says these sweaters are lovely to wear with jeans but also stylish enough to wear for work. Jeans means casual, for work means smart occasions. So the answer to the 13th question is E. The 14th question says the customer was worried that the sweater wouldn't fit her. We have scanned for the customer being unsure about something or not being able to decide about something for other questions as well. Here, the customer is worried about something, again, means the customer is unsure about something. Section A says, I spent a while thinking about buying because of the price. The reason for being unsure or being worried is that the price is high, not because the sweater would not suit the person. Section E says, I couldn't decide which color to get, so I bought two colors. The indecision or the worry is about which color to buy, not about whether it would suit the person or not. Section C says, I wasn't sure it was going to look right on me. Look right on me means so the person was not sure or the person was worried whether the sweater would suit her. The answer to the 14th question is C. On your screen are meanings of some words and phrases which helped us find the answers in this passage. With this, we are done with this passage. I'll solve the rest of this reading test in other videos. Hope this video helped you. All the very best.